You are involved in the Harmony Pendant study that was recently conducted. And what were your thoughts on that? So this is the Harmony Pendant right here that I'm wearing. It's a pendant that uses sacred geometry to try to, change. Yes, that you're wearing it. Yes. Yeah, it's attempting to, change the body's energy field, optimize it.
Mhm.
So you're better able to deal with stress, brings you down in a parasympathetic, and can, assist your body in dealing with stressors like EMF as well. So what were some of your insights in participating in this study?
Well, Wendy, I'd already had years and years of experience because I worked with other companies that were making products. So I had a lot of background and a lot of understanding in it. When this one was brought to my attention, I was all excited the company that I had been working with isn't around anymore, so I was real excited to see if there was something else that we could substitute. And so I started doing the studies, and we included the live blood along with doing heart rate variability. And now we did it all on people. We are getting ready to do a study on animals, but this study that I participated in was all people. And one of them was a really interesting person. It was a female friend of mine who's a surgeon. And she had come in to help me with something in the office. And I said, hey, you want to participate? She has no background in metaphysical. She's totally surgeon, traditional, allopathic to the max. So she was, okay. So I offered to do the live blood, and she goes, okay. So I take her live blood, and it's all gnarly and mashed together. The fourth phase of water is all collapsed. It looks horrible. And then I exposed her to the EMF, which we used a little fan, and her blood got worse. And then I harmonized her to the pendant. And 20 minutes later, her blood was all separated and looked gorgeous. She goes, oh, you did something. Like, she just couldn't get that was her blood to start with. And I had actually made that big of a difference with just 20 minutes of being harmonized with that pendant. I think it's hard for some people when they aren't familiar with the quantum world, because all they think is this, that's all they can see and that's all they can understand. But when we are allowed to go past that and realize that there's way more out there than what we can even imagine, and just because I can't explain it and just because I can't see it and touch it doesn't mean it's not there. And Einstein, he dedicated his whole life to try to disprove it, and his life work was actually proving quantum science.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's like a lot of things, like say EMF, for instance. These electromagnetic frequencies. They're invisible, yet they do exist. And we do show in the research, these non-native frequencies do harm our body. And there's other beneficial frequencies that our body needs, our body craves that they need to operate properly. And it's also proven we have an energy field, and
Yes.
we can do things to optimize that energy field as well.
Absolutely. And that summarized it perfectly. Even talking about things like volatile organic compounds, there are good ones. They come from essential oils. And then there's bad ones that come from formaldehyde and all the fire retardants and all the bad chemicals that are used in a lot of our clothing, bedding, sheets, cleaning materials. So we have the ability to have natural products that are made by nature, and they are good for us. And then man makes, of course, the biotechnology products, which in most cases, they're toxic.
Yeah. Were there any other results that you really kind of were struck by when, working with the Harmony Pendant and the other patients in the study?
Well, I think the thing that I really appreciated most was watching the changes in the live blood. Because what we're looking at in live blood, we're taking a drop of blood and we're putting in a microscope slide, and we're looking at what that blood looks like in relationship to each other. And red blood cells, they carry oxygen to your tissue, and then it picks up waste material and it delivers it out the body. And it uses its surface area. So imagine a tennis ball. And the surface area of the tennis ball is the whole outside of the tennis ball. And I take that tennis ball and I submerge it in water. So the whole tennis ball is touching water. That's what your red blood cell is doing. It's swimming in this plasma pool, and it picks up oxygen from your lungs when you're breathing, and it delivers that to your tissue, and then it picks up waste material and sends it out the body. So that's normal. But there's this fourth phase of water that Dr. Gerald Pollack has enlightened us on, and that surrounds all these cells and organelles. When that zone expands through positive frequencies, it helps to create a polarity that separates the cells, and now they can be individual and do their job. But then we also have found that there are things that are harmful to that easy zone, and it'll collapse it. And one of the most profound is electromagnetic pollution. So when we put that fan on somebody's chest, it caused the cells to go whoosh, just collapses them right in. And now they're all sticky and going around in clumps. Well, obviously, if you cover 50% of the surface area of that cell, it's not going to be able to do its job the way it was intended to do. So now you have 50% of the amount of oxygen coming in, you get rid of 50% less waste products. You gotta just extrapolate that maybe that's not going to be the best way for your body to function.
Yeah.
And we were taught in vet school that that condition, which is called rouleau, if you ever see it on a slide, we were taught that that was normal for horses and cats. It is anything but normal. But because all these animals were so toxic from their food and their lifestyle, and every time they looked, it was there, it was assumed that it was normal. Wow. You know, that was poor science, because no one ever really took the time to find out why isn't it normal? And that would have been the right question to ask.
Yeah, and it's one of those things like when you do lab work that all the people coming in tend to be, on the sicker side. That's why they're doing lab work. And so you have these lab ranges that are really for unhealthy individuals, not the ideal.
Yeah, and they do the same thing in animals, yes.
Yeah.
And they shift them about every 6 months. They keep shifting those curves. We see liver enzymes now reported to be normal in dogs down to 13. That liver isn't even working at 13, and they're calling that normal. It's really interesting. In vet school, they don't even tell you to look at low numbers.
So when you were conducting the pendant study, what were some of the results that people were reporting to you? What were some of the benefits that people were talking about?
Most of them were saying they felt calmer, they had more focus, they had more energy, they slept better. Yeah, one of the guys, he's wound tight as a clock, and he just mellowed as he was harmonizing. You could just see him relax, and he literally said that to me. He goes, I don't know what kind of juice you put in this thing, but this is the best I've felt in a long time. He was just so wound up.
That's awesome. I mean, that's the most common thing that we hear is that people, activate the pendant or harmonize with it, and they just kind of calm down. So, well, thank you so much for your insight on the Harmony Pendant study and your participation too.
You're welcome.